Hi, I'm Ali.
Hi Mark.
And together we are Ali and Mark Travel Tales. Welcome to our latest cruise vlog. This is our summary of ship from P&O's Azura Canaries cruise, where we left from Birmingham Airport on New Year's Eve 2022. So in this episode we are going to do a summary of the cruise. We've got some categories that we'll discuss, and then we will score each one of the categories out of 5. Anyone that's seen our previous summary of ship will realise that in this one we have an additional category, so we've decided that we will add in itinerary and score that too. So first thing we will talk about is the ship.
So Ali was just saying this was a New Year cruise. Before we travelled down, as we always do a bit of research, and we'd seen a few horror stories about Azura on YouTube and on Facebook, saying she was dated. There was a few things wrong with her, and there was some not very nice smells in certain parts of the ship. But when we got there, we agree that she's a little bit dated, but she is an older ship. She is going for a refit during this year, we believe. But she's always special to us, because for me, it was my first cruising experience on Azura. And once we was on there, one of the comedians once was on there said, once you've been on Azura, you become an Azurian for life. So that's always makes us smile when we walk back on the ship, calling ourselves Azurians.
And it was our first cruise together.
And it was our first cruise together. Yeah, after you've been on one previous. For me, it was my first one. So when we was walking around the ship, there's no photo part of the ship anymore. There's no photographers, so that area is a little bit bare. I believe they could have maybe done something else there, maybe some pop-up stuff, a pop-up band or something like that could have been used, that area a little bit better. It just seemed very bare. The long corridor between Manhattan Bar and the main atrium where that place is. Also walking through areas to get to things like going through Brody's to get to the headliners
the
atrium as well. Again, you've got to walk through some bars to get to somewhere else, which again is a little bit dated on modern ones now. You can just walk round. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, overall the ship is nice. She's got quite a good layout. Does need a bit of TLC, and we had noticed changes from when we were on board previously, but obviously we live in a post-COVID era now, and I think to most points some of it has been reflected in the price, or we felt that it had, at least anyway. But yeah, overall we scored Azura 3 out of 5.
So our second category is the cabin. Now we have done a cabin tour, which you'll be able to find once we upload it, which hopefully will be soon. But we're going to talk a little about the sort of aspects of the cabin at the moment and what we scored it.
So on our previous cruise we had an inside cabin. This time we treated ourselves to a balcony. You can definitely tell the size difference, but the layout is pretty similar. I think one of my favourite parts is the kind of walk-in wardrobe area that's off the main bedroom type space. Loads of storage in that.
There's not much tech inside the cabin. There's no USBs underneath the lights. The TV isn't very smart, as in you can't see your onboard account.
It's quite small as well on this ship.
Yeah, and the TV is rather small. The bathroom again is a little bit dated with the dreaded shower curtain. However, inside it's very functional. There's always hot water and quite powerful as well in the shower.
Overall, quite pleased with the cabin. Balcony space was nice and quite roomy. However, be aware of just what's above and below you. I know with us, when we looked over, you saw down into the balcony below. But overall, we were happy with it. So we've it was really kind of on par with our previous cabin, balcony cabin on our last cruise. So we scored it 2.5 out of 5.
So our next category is the service and staff.
Yeah, again, quite happy. We met our cabin steward when we got on board. She explained that if you wanted your cabin serviced,
Bed made
basically, each day, to put the little door hanging notice on, and she would come and do it, which we did, and she did. I think she has a lot of cabins to do, so some days took a little bit longer than others, but didn't bother because we were out of the cabin, so it still got completed, and she was very cheery. And
yeah, we still had a horizon on the evening on the bed. The chocolates have long gone, I believe, post-COVID, but there was certainly, she would come in and just tidy the room up in the afternoon and leave your horizon
on the door outside.
On the door outside, yes, on the door outside. You wouldn't actually come in yet anymore. They just leave it in the little post box outside for you to pick up. That was the only thing we didn't notice. There was no evening turn down or anything like that service anymore.
But we did have room service one night, and plates and everything were collected the next day without any problem. So
obviously for research purposes only.
Yeah, just research.
Research purposes.
It did seem to be, I think, some new staff on board, but the staff that have been there longer are teaching them. There was a slight mix-up in the main dining room one evening with some wine we'd ordered. It got rectified and sorted pretty quickly, and it was down to the guy being new and learning. So I think we're quite open to making some allowances to getting people trained up, because actually that's what's needed to make the ship tick. So it's good that some issues P&O are obviously looking to address with additional staff.
We only had one issue, and that was on penultimate night. I think it was the last night. We'd booked the Glass House for a posh evening meal. When we went down to the meal itself, we were informed that there was no mains. There was only starters and the puddings, desserts. You could have, they said they tried to inform us, but we couldn't find any of that. There was no messages on the telephone. There was nothing in the post box, nothing, no letters underneath the door or anything. And so that was a little bit disappointing and sad. When we arrived today, they explained what had gone on and how they tried to rectify it. We were just left in the foyer while the staff was moving around, and then we was moved to a table which you couldn't really eat off. So we asked to be moved. We did get moved, but it seemed like it was like a pain, so they were inconvenient for them. But yeah, that was the whole sort of disappointing end to what was a good cruise. But yeah, we look forward to going to the Glass House. We heard so much about it and how good it was, and the whole experience of the Glass House wasn't very good at all.
No, so I think that last night definitely pulled the scores down a little bit. But for sort of service and staff, we've scored it 3.5 out of 5. Now on to a subject that's very dear to us: food.
So the food was fantastic. Again, we'd heard horror stories about lack of choice, not very big portions, but what we could see, it was fine. They still had a bit of choice. Yes, some of the choice had gone in the main dining room. Like they used to get always available the prawn cocktails, brownies, or even desserts. They seem to have disappeared. But the portion sizes were fine. Still had a decent choice in the main dining rooms. We can't really talk about the speciality ones, because the only one we tried was the Glass House. But we've already discussed that. But yeah, so it was okay. The main dining room, the gala nights, you still get your lobster tail. We did miss out apparently on the beef Wellington, because that was on Christmas and we was on at New Year, and they like to rotate
doing
the
it on
foods.
a rotation, aren't they?
So you were very disappointed because you didn't have your beef Wellington.
Yeah, we've got lobster though.
We got lobster, so it was happy. And then on the New Year's Day, I was a bit cheeky and asked for the beef with the lobster. So I had a bit of a surf and turf and was the envy of the table because I had asked for this.
So yeah, overall, food was, I'd say, not as good as our previous cruise, but we didn't go hungry, and it definitely wasn't the worst food at sea we've ever had.
Even the buffet was good. When we travelled, there had a few things in the buffet. That was fine as well. Good choice.
I realise we don't know buffet etiquette, but we're learning.
Another story.
Yeah. One thing we did have, I think we've been spoiled a bit with pizza. So I think previously we thought the pizza was quite good, and now actually I'd say it's not
the best at sea.
The best pizza at sea.
Out of all the marks out of 5, or in the top 5, I think it's down at number 6. So it doesn't even make the top 5. But it was all right.
But top tip would be there are 2 main dining rooms available for Freedom diners. One on deck 6, which is Peninsula, and one on deck 5. We majority of time opted to go to the one on deck 5 and was seated and served really quickly. The one time we went to the Peninsula on deck 6, it was busy and the service did take a little bit longer. So I think that the one on the deck below would definitely ease the way forward, because obviously being one deck down, people tend not to use it quite as much. So top tip, it's only one more floor down in the lift.
It's the one where the coffee shop is.
Yes, on the same.
On the same floor as a coffee shop.
Yeah. Our score for food, it's 3.
So our next category is entertainment. So while I was on there was a lot of off-ship entertainers on there, and I have to say they were very good. So the first one we saw was Tessie Jones, and she was on The Voice, and what to say is what a voice. Yeah, she was really good. Her take on the songs was her own take. There were some people complaining that she was too loud and she was going a bit away from the songs, but she wanted to put her own stamp on a song. If you wanted to just hear the same song over and over again, then you wouldn't want to listen to it. And I thought she was really good at what she did. Vox Clever. These was a 4-piece male singers.
Yeah.
Vocal singers. Again, they were very good, very entertaining. We got to have a chat with them one evening. We sort of ambushed them as they came out of the restaurant, but they were very chatty and happy to talk. And with them, we have photos. Across the water and across the land, I've seen every blue-eyed bluesy on the way.
A bit of a sing-off between Tessie Jones and Vox Clever, because they both did their own rendition of Purple Rain. Both were very, very good, but you thought... I upset them because I thought Tessie's was slightly better. So. Sorry. Also, there was a gentleman called Aaron Kavanagh, and he was an Elton John tribute, and brilliant. I really did enjoy it. On the first night, which was New Year's Eve, he did a little set just before midnight, and it really got the party going. Yeah, the sort of songs he was singing, which is Elton songs, gets the party going, and he was very good, interacting with the audience very well, and it was a really good start off to the New Year's sort of celebrations as well. Don't you know I'm still standing better than a comedian there called Comedy Lopez. He's a Spanish individual who takes the Spanish take on Brits. Again, he was very good. On the second night where we saw him on his second stint, is it stint is the word I should use? Yeah, the second performance.
He was heckled by a very, so we say, drunk Welshman. and he handled it very, very well, very well.
Yeah.
He brought the
Very
individual,
impressive, actually.
yeah, he brought the individual down. He sat him in front of him, and he instantly shut it up. And it was quite good where he dealt with it, and it made his set go a little bit longer because obviously he had to get his content in. But obviously with that, it was very, very good. And also as the headliners, as per normal on P&O, we only saw one of their shows, I think, one or two.
One or two, and I think the shows were named the same as what the shows were previously, but they've added new content. Personally, I don't think they were quite as good as other headliners acts seen in the past, but it's still worth going to. I think perhaps some of it might be because we've seen some of the content before. But yeah, they were still enjoyable.
Yeah, and then on one of the nights also they were showing the Top Gun Maverick. They showed it in the Headlines Theatre, although we did go and try and find out why they weren't doing it outside, because watching that probably under the stars with some popcorn and we were really, really, really good. But
I'm a bit gutted it was inside and not outside.
Yeah, because that was the last night, and that had been a really good way to finish off under the stars. So we scored the entertainment for all them people was 3.5 out of 5. So our next category is the other facilities on board Azura, and we're going to talk about the wellness. So within the wellness is the spa, the gym, and the retreat.
So because this was a New Year's cruise and we've had a stressful few months leading up to Christmas, we thought we would treat ourselves and book the retreat, which is an additional cost, adult only area at the front.
Yeah, better sun lounges, waiter service, drinks, food, and an area which is just dedicated to adults.
I'm pleased we did it, really pleased, because the ship was busy and the weather was lovely. So when we wandered around in the pool area in the other deck space, it was full and everyone was every sun lounger for itself. So we did have this space to go to. I would say the configuration isn't perfect. So they've got some cover over quite a main part of it, which leaves 2 smallish areas for
where the entrance
is for sort of sunbathing, which probably could do with being swapped around a bit so it's a bit bigger. But what doesn't help is people hogging sunbed, so leaving towels or bags on to reserve it and then disappearing for half a day.
Yeah, this
4 hours, and it says in the horizon that stuff left for a set period of time would be removed by the staff, but that didn't seem to flow through into the retreat area.
And I'll give an example of that, a bit of a rant. One of the days we was there, when we was travelling up to Madeira, we were obviously going north, so the sun was south, so in the area, which was the sun lounging area, you got the sun. However, when we was travelling back south, obviously the sun wasn't getting to that general area. Some individuals on the ship decided that they would still hog them sun lounges in the retreat, but then go into the other area where everybody else was and go on the sun lounges there and stay there all day, but left their bags on the retreat sun lounges, which there were still people coming into the retreat and waiting to get on the sun lounges. People did make it aware to the staff, and the staff didn't really do anything. So I just thought it was very bad of them individuals who were no more than 10 metres away, other side of the glass, and could see them bags on them sun lounges, and they didn't move them. And I think that was really, really poor and selfish of them individuals. But that's my bit of a rant.
Yeah, rant over.
Rant over, yes.
So we booked the retreat before we left. I think the price then was slightly cheaper than booking it on board. And actually, we thought for the amount of time we used it, it was very good value for money. I think it would be down to individuals to judge whether or not it would be worth you booking it. But for us, it absolutely, definitely was.
Yeah, and if anybody thinks that there isn't some lounger hoggers in the retreat, there is still them there.
Yes.
It happens on both sides.
So let's move swiftly on from that to the gym, which is an area that Mark will now be able to describe and be a little more cheerful about.
The gym is good on Azura. I've been in there before, and compared to other cruise liners and ships, yeah, she's okay. It's got all the running machines. They're facing the way you travel, so you are at sea, you're going to get the rocking. You'll just be going uphill and downhill instead of side to side. The bikes in there are fine. The weights area, the free weights area is slightly small, but there's still plenty of choice. And the gym machines. They did classes as well, indoor cycling, spinning, yoga, but there is a charge for them. And I think it was £15.
Yeah, it's quite.
Which is quite expensive compared to other liners. Or some of them, on other liners, they're complimentary. So to charge £15, I thought it's a little bit steep, especially for a 45-minute class. But it looked fantastic. I was in the gym once while there was a spin class going on, and yeah, there was plenty of people there, and seemed to be enjoying it. And the instructor sounded really good as well.
So overall, for the wellness area of our other facility section, we scored it a 3.
So moving on to pools. So we only used the adult-only pool there near to where the retreat was. We didn't use the other 1 or 2 pools. I think there's 2, aren't they?
Two. There's one in the middle and then there's one at the back.
Yeah, we didn't use them, but the all around there was really, really busy, hence why we was looking to go into the retreat. So I think if we had used them, it'd have been a bit touchy-feely inside them pools because there was a lot of people in there.
Pools, we scored a 3.
Moving on to the last part of our other facilities is the bars.
Another area close to our hearts, something we do like. We I think we tried out all the bars on board. But,
yeah, it was the Blue Bar, Brody's, and the Planet Bar. The Planet Bar is very nice. Yeah. It's at the very top of the ship. Really nice area to look out.
We like the Blue Bar before dinner. We'd go for a before dinner drink in there. Cocktail. Didn't have any problems getting served, and always managed to find a seat, so that was good. Yeah. Planet Bar can get busy. It's very popular, and it's usually around that crossover as one kind of people finish dinner before the late sitters go. But once that happens, then it's got loads of space, isn't it? So
Brody's is mixed in with the casino as well. Again, it was hit and miss. If you was going in between sittings, you always get a space. If you was just before sitting or just after, it was really, really busy in there. They also held the quizzes in there in the evening. So that was it was always filled up for that. But again, the barmen or the bar waiters were struggling a little bit, but they always managed to get around. You were wait about 5 minutes maximum wait for a drink. If you just made attention to come over and take your order, they would come across no problem. And seating again, there's plenty of seating in there as well. And it's got a pool table, which is a bit weird when you're at sea, and a dartboard, and the series of the quiz, and it runs into the casino in Brody's as well.
So one of the bone of contentions on P&O is the drinks package, and we are not going to labour on about this because there's plenty of other viewpoints. For us on this cruise, we booked the non-alcoholic drink package, which works for us. We do like to have a drink. However, the prices of the alcoholic drinks on board are quite reasonable, and we knew, we did some calculations. I like a good spreadsheet before we left, and the alcoholic package wouldn't have been cost effective for us. However, the soft drinks definitely was. We do like a specialty coffee and a mocktail during the day. The only one thing I would say is they put the same colour sticker on your cruise card for alcoholic package and non-alcoholic drinks package, and that does seem to cause a little bit of confusion. And then when you try and order an alcoholic drink, there is always a bit of a discussion over the fact that you have to pay for it, which obviously we were well aware of, and I will assume this is probably down to some confusion in the past with passengers or something. So that is just one thing to bear in mind. The waiters are very hot on ensuring that which element of packages that you need to pay for, and aware that there will be a cost involved.
And we'll give an example of that. It's on New Year's Eve. We watched Tesney singing, and it was 11:30, so we knew if we'd gone up to the deck, which was where the party was for the New Year's Eve, for bringing in the new year, it'd be busy in the bars, so we thought we'd go to the glass house, pick up a couple of drinks and then take them upstairs with us. We went to the bar, we asked for 4 drinks, which really...
Two each, not 4 each.
Two each, which really threw them. And that, because they kept coming back to us, you know you've got to pay for this, you know you can't have more than one every 15 minutes, and trying to explain the drinks package to us, which we then explained to them, we are not on the drinks package. Yes, we are well aware we're paying for 4 drinks, and can we have our 4 drinks? And again, there was a bit of to and fro in going back to the manager and all the rest of it. But in the end, we got our 4 drinks and we just made it for midnight, because it was the way it was done. So, as I called it, it's supposed to be the ultimate drinks package. I think it's the unultimate drink package.
And we're gonna
we'll draw a line on
leave that there. You know, if you're going on P&O, please make your own decisions on that. But yeah, the staff are very hot on making you aware of what is included and what's not. So I think you just have to accommodate that, because they don't want to make a mistake, and I guess nor do you.
And because of that, and because of how busy it was and how quick they were serving us, and the service we got from the bars, we gave it quite a good score, and we gave it a 4 out of 5. So our next category is the tech on board. With it being an older ship, there's not much tech on board. They have the in-ship application app on there, which is okay.
Yeah, well, it functioned well for us. We could join the virtual queue for dinner, and get notification of when our table was ready, and we could view our onboard account, which is really all we...
Yeah, and
we could book for entertainment. So we didn't have a problem with it. It runs off the ship's Wi-Fi. It is just a posted web page for them, and for us it worked.
Yeah, because a couple of times we used it for cancelling shows and rebooking. We wanted to go at different times, and it worked perfectly, absolutely perfectly. We had no problem with it whatsoever. As we mentioned earlier on, the in-cabin TVs are slightly smaller. You can't get your onboard spend checking on there. You can't get that on board, I think, could we?
No. I don't think we could, but you can get it on your phone. So, so sorry about that. Bit at during our tech stage.
Alison's Amazon.
Yeah, and the good old ring doorbell goes off. So anyone that knows us knows that we're quite into tech and gadgets. But on a cruise, actually, I'm the less tech, the better for me.
We can mention the Wi-Fi, because we didn't book that, pay for it. Because obviously in ports, there's only 1 day at sea, and we can live without our internet for a couple of days. So that wasn't really a issue for us whatsoever. But the tech is on board, it's okay. Yeah.
Basic, functional, we scored it a 2.
So our last category is the itinerary.
So this is our newest category that we've decided to add. Well, we kind of selected this cruise was probably less for the itinerary, but one key port that we visited was Madeira.
Our favourite
port at the moment.
Mainly because of lunch, again food.
Yeah.
Going to Churchill's Churchill's Bay. Churchill's Bay.
One thing we'll say is we were in Tenerife for an extra day at the end of our cruise, but the day we docked was actually a holiday.
Spanish holiday.
Spanish holiday for Three Kings Day, so nothing was open. Even stuff that on a bank holiday in England and the UK would normally be open, there was literally nothing. We got off, had a wander, and then got back on the ship. It really didn't
5 minutes
make a difference to our cruise, but it would have nice just to been informed, maybe just to notice in the horizon or something, just so we were aware.
Which we couldn't find it. We did look in the horizon when we came back, and we couldn't find anything about it.
So some of it down to us, bit of research before going, but some of it would have been nice just to have had that heads up, because we did want to go to the pool, didn't we?
Yes, the Botanic Gardens, with the pool area down at the end of the pier as such. We were trying to go there someday for the day, just chill out, but we couldn't because it was shut. And we only checked that because once we docked, we'd gone to book the tickets online through them direct, and it said it was shut. And then we started obviously researching back and found out then it was the Three Kings Day, which they celebrate, the Spanish.
The other thing we remember back previously, that in the cabin there would have been destination sheets saying a bit about each port you're going to, a bit of history, and no ideas of what to do. Yeah. They weren't there anymore. No,
they changed it into the horizon, put like a little paragraph
in
there. Again, you can understand why they've done it, but it was just that little extra bit you got from P&O. But they seem to be cutting back on certain things, and that seems to be one of them, just putting it in the horizon.
I mean, overall, we had a couple of sea days, and all the rest were at ports. The itinerary suited us. We'd done it before, but we didn't mind that, and we actually enjoyed ourselves. But I think
so. Our ports were Madeira, Gran Canaria, and Lanzarote and Tenerife. So they were our ports, which were fine for us. We had visited them before. So Lanzarote we didn't get off, and we stayed on the ship. Tenerife, the extra day was a very short brief off the ship and back on again. But Gran Canaria was lovely, and Madeira is always lovely. It's our favourite place.
Yeah. So I would definitely recommend this itinerary, and for that we scored it 3.5. So overall, combining all the scores together, our P&O cruise on Azura scored 29.5 out of 55, which I think is a really reasonable score for the 7-night cruise. We enjoyed it, and we would, I think, definitely cruise P&O again.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is a little section we like to call Q&A. So we've got some questions, and we're going to ask each other, but we haven't pre-prepared any answers, so this could be quite interesting. I don't know quite what's going to be
could be
said.
A bit of a rant. It could not be a bit of a rant.
Anyway, so first question to you: why did we book this cruise and book with P&O?
It was because it was going at New Year, and it was the time we could both get off for our work. So that's the reason we booked that, and we looked at where it was going, because we like the ports it was going to, destinations, i.e. Madeira, because we like Madeira, as we've mentioned earlier on. So why did we book this cruise, and the line for you?
We were running the comparison with another cruise line, and again a spreadsheet was involved, and actually the P&O worked out better value for money for what we wanted to do. So that was one of the driving forces, and the dates worked. So yeah, we're happy. First thing we did do is we actually booked a saver fare on this cruise, and usually we would book select. There are different sort of perks for each one, but having done the ports before, we kind of knew roughly where the ship would be docked, so we didn't really need port transfers, and there was a really big price difference, which is usually quite unheard of, between the select and saver.
On travelling on the different days, or the New Year's Eve and the day before.
And the day before. We were happy with it, and actually that's another way, cost-effective way of cruising, if that's an option, and it was definitely an option for us on this, and it worked out well. So yeah, that's why.
So, second question. What did you think of the ship?
I like the ship. I think, having cruised on Azura previously, she does need a little bit of TLC. And I know we said that previously about QM2, but I think QM2 can probably get away with it a bit more because of the history that holds. Yes, not got as much of the glitz and glamour as some of the other ships, but it still worked for us. But I'm just pleased, overall really pleased, that we booked that retreat and we had that extra area to go to.
And for me, because it's obviously to go back on the first ship I've been on when I first went cruising, so it's actually a treat for me to go see how, if she's changed and she has changed as we just discussed. So that's what I thought of the ship anyway.
What was your best meal?
Best meal for me was New Year's Day, where I was a little bit cheeky and asked for the beef to go with my lobster for the gala meal. That was amazing, absolutely amazing, and I was the envy of the table.
Yeah.
Yourself?
Best meal was quite a difficult one. I think probably the gala dinner New Year's Eve.
You can't say all of them either.
No. Gala dinner New Year's Eve, we had there was a lobster tail, whereas yours was more of a lobster, wasn't it? It was in pastry, wasn't it?
That's on the New Year's Day, was it?
Yeah, so New Year's Eve, gala dinner, lobster tail, and I think we ended up with a full 7 courses that night, didn't we?
We did, and we ate all 7 courses, including cheese.
I think I know the answer to this one, but what was your worst meal?
Worst meal had to be, unfortunately, the glass house. It's sort of been put on a bit of a pedestal, how good it is in there, and then when we went, it was the whole disappointing experience. Not to be told that we couldn't have a main, which was one of the main things when we went there for, and you could only have starters and a pudding. In fact, we just had the starters and left, didn't we? We didn't even go for the puddings afterwards or desserts. The starters were a bit greasy, to be fair, and things in batter. The prawns and some other things were very, very greasy, weren't very nice at all. And so we left after eating the starters. And for you, it's probably the same, I'd imagine. Worst meal?
Yeah, no, I think it was a close second in the main dining room. I think I ordered pork in a sauce. Okay. And it was just lacking, I think, a bit of flavour, which might just be down to seasoning. It was still okay. It was just not the best out of everything we'd eaten. So yeah. Best entertainment for you?
Best entertainment. So we talked about Tesney and Vox Clever. So it has to go down really for the Purple Rain song. I mean, Tesney was absolutely amazing. Had a little stamp on it. It was really, really good. Vox Clever, I think, because there was 4 of them, they can all combine to sing. But there's one guy just singing, the other guys were behind backing him, where Tesney's by herself. So I think it was a flick of a coin, and I think Tesney gets it as the best entertainment.
See, I'm surprised you said that, because I thought you'd go for Elton John.
See, Aaron Kavanagh does come a very, very, very close second. I mean, see him on New Year's Eve and then go watching his performance in the bar and on another night was again amazing. He was really engaging with the audience, but I think for me, Tesney just gets it. Just is the one for me who is the best entertainment. Yourself?
I'm going to go with Vox Clever. I must admit, gents, really enjoyed you. Thank you very much. Yeah, they were definitely my favourite.
Okay.
Nothing to do with his tattoos either.
No, nothing, I suppose. Anyway, things to watch out for.
Probably the whole Sun Lounger thing. Don't start a rant on that one.
I just wish it could have been better policed. That's the best way to do it. We did speak to a couple when we was on one of the tables one evening, and their daughter was one of the staff on board. She had moved somebody's belongings because they'd obviously left it, had been missing for a couple of hours, and then when they came back, had a rant at her for moving their stuff. She just passed it on to her manager. But if you're going to leave your stuff on there and disappear for a couple of hours, it stays there in the horizon. Don't do it. The captain comes on to the tannoy and say, don't do it, and yet people still do it. So again, that's not my rant.
Other things to watch out for? No, I think that's pretty much it, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the Sun Lounger thing. Make sure if you're going to go on Freedom Dining, use the restaurant we use because it's not very busy.
The lower restaurant.
Yeah, the lower one on where the coffee shop is. The app works for us perfectly. Booked it and then within a couple of minutes we was told. But we was always eating about 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's when we would go down, and that's so you just get the main rush out of the way, and I think it's the lull before the next lot.
No, that restaurant opens at 6:30.
Oh, it'll be 6:30. So, yeah. So then it worked.
Later, so.
Yeah, it worked perfectly for us.
Usually we go up to the buffet to try and find the hot chocolate. Couldn't find hot chocolate in the buffet. However, because we were on the no non-alcohol drink package, we could get it in the CAF.
Yeah, the Costa
equivalent. So, and I think they were open till 1.
Yeah, up to 1 o'clock in the morning. It was really good.
So yeah, would get that and then go to the buffet for hot chocolate.
All the way down to all the way top of the ship for the buffet, and then all the way down to the bottom of the ship to get hot chocolate. Go work that out. So overall, best thing. And we can't talk about what's clever. We've already done then.
Best thing for me would probably be the weather. And actually, I think I came off being more relaxed after this cruise. Cruising's relaxing anyway, but sometimes because of the ports and you want to go and see everything and experience as much as you can, it can be a tiring relaxing, if that makes sense. However, on this cruise, because we had the retreat area and we did have time just to chill out and no phones and all of the stuff that goes with it, and the weather was fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Over 25 degrees. 29 in Gran Canaria.
Melted our ice creams.
Yeah, that for me was definitely the best thing. A bit of winter sun on this cruise. What about you?
Yeah, I'd say Gran Canaria was lovely. We'd been to a restaurant on the front, and when you come off the ship, just keep heading straight, come off the pier, and you'll come to the side of Gran Canaria as such, and there's a massive promenade about 2 miles long with loads of shops, restaurants, bars, and we headed to there. We went to the same Creatures of Habit, went to the same one we went to last time, and again the food was fantastic, really good service. However, they don't open till 12 o'clock, some of them. So we got there a little bit early and got told we couldn't sit in the chairs. We had to move on. So we went on for a little bit walk, a bit further up, turned round, and then came back again. So that's just something to remember as well. But the pizza and the salad, oh, it was huge, it was lovely. And the ice creams, what we went on there was really good. So I think the ice cream and the pizza at Gran Canaria was my favourite thing.
Okay. So then that brings us on to the overall worst thing. Now I reckon we could probably answer this both together. So
I've got 2.
Oh, okay. Let you go then.
So I think the lounge hoggers, the lounge hoggers, sun lounge hoggers, and then obviously
Glass House.
Yeah.
Our experience at the Glass House, I think.
As we said, we put it on a pedestal, and lots of other people have put the Glass House on a pedestal, and it was so disappointing. So disappointing. So more the fact that we probably, if we go back on a P&O, we probably, would we go probably just to give it a second go, just to see if it was that night what had happened. But again, there was no notification or given to us why there was no mains, because every other restaurant had a main course and all the other specialised had main course. So I don't know why for that night what went on because they didn't tell us, and still, we complained anyway, and we still didn't get told.
So, who do you think would like this cruise?
Who are traditional cruisers?
Yeah,
definitely. P&O is still a traditional. Set time meals, set time for.
But there is freedom dining.
There is freedom. They have gone, but because of the date of the ship, it's very traditional, very very traditional. But obviously they are coming into the 20th century with the freedom dining, the sort of acts they're getting on there. But they had lost some of their daily activities like the talks and stuff like that. So some of the stuff has disappeared, but some of the stuff is still the same. Some of the stuff has become more modern. So
definitely say. I mean, it's open to everyone and families. There was some children, but they don't have. They have the children's clubs, but they don't have like a lot of the bigger activities. But for value for money, I think it was spot on for us. So it's
the demographic has gone down, right?
Trying to cruise out, and you want sort of the value for money, and it's definitely one for that sort of area, isn't it? I'd say it's more now middle of the range type cruising.
Because some of the other cruise liners have got singing or dancing modern ships, you know, with your flow riders, your Go Ape stuff, your water slides, and I was like, that's something she hasn't definitely not got.
No.
So she's more traditional in that way. She's not a modern singing or dancing ship. That's all I'll say.
So, would
we book again?
Would you book again?
On P&O, I'd like to try one of the bigger ships. We've not been on Iona or the new one, Arriva. We've not been on that. Britannia. So again, I'd like to try a bigger ship. I'd like to try the Glasshouse again, and that just to make sure it wasn't as bad as what we just had. And the whole P&O experience. Do I think, like I say, it's going now as a budget cruise liner? I would say yes. They are trying to get that market now, I think, and sort of a younger demographic with obviously the bigger ships and going after families. So would we book P&O again? Yes, and I'd definitely go on Azura again because it's close to my heart, it's Azura. So I would definitely go on Azura again.
I think it would come down to, I'd probably hold them in the same regard as when we went on Princess. It would come down to itinerary and dates, and if that was the only supplier doing the area that we wanted to go to, at the dates we wanted to go, I wouldn't not book them, but I probably wouldn't put P&O as the go-to cruise line. Perhaps like maybe we'd done previously. Definitely would like to explore other cruise options. But again, follow what Mark said, would quite fancy trying out their newer ships. Seen some really good vlogs and reviews coming out. So yeah, it's not I'm not touching that again ever, but I think perhaps not quite high up on the list as they may have been previously.
No, unfortunately.
Anyway, so that's us done. Hope you enjoyed our content. Please feel free to leave us any comments or if you've got any questions. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and follow us. We're on pretty much most social media platforms.
Yep, and hopefully pretty soon we'll have the cabin tour coming online as well. So have a look at that. So from us, thank you very much.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye.